Round one. Ready, go! Knockout. Round two. Ready, go!
Alright, mic check. 1, 2, 2. Alright, we're good. Hey everybody, it's Chanchai. We're about to do Tuesdays with Tricky, our usual training session with Tricky on Tuesdays. And everything should be good. Tricky should be joining us in around 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tech Bonus, so good to see you. How are you doing today? Thank you very much for joining over here. So good to see you. It was good to see you last night as well. And Tech Bonus is an awesome, community member in my area, in my city, and they've been really wonderful as a community member and as somebody learning Virtua Fighter. Hey, Silverbolt, how are you doing? Hope you're doing really well. Hope you're getting ready for the comic convention, and hope the weather in Chicago is doing okay as well. So, how's the start of your week so far, Silverbolt? I was very happy to see you, Tech Bonus, yesterday. I'm glad we got to have a little bit of a chat last night. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, good feels always, So yeah, been enjoying our fighting game stuff. I'm enjoying my VF a lot. Let's see. Oh, it's a big weekend, so yeah, and I imagine that in Chicago, that's got to be a really big convention. So it's got to be pretty busy too, especially East Coast. Oh, awesome, awesome! I might be available later tonight. This session with Tricky is not going to be the longest. It's only going to be an hour and a half or so, maybe an hour. I have a dinner appointment with family, and so I got to take care of that. But it's always a wonderful time with Tricky. And for those that, you know, as many of us know now, Tricky's Tekken content has really taken off. So I would not be surprised if she does a Tekken stream right after our session. So and her content's really good. It covers a lot of things that a lot of people would like to enjoy in the Tekken content. So she talks about her perspectives as she learns Tekken and as she gets more and more competitive and more into grasping how to play Tekken better, and she's really gotten herself at a very good level of play that she is playing with quite a few named players now, and that community has been very awesome to her as well. She speaks from a lot of her experiences as a competitor, and so it's great to have content with fresh eyes, with learning eyes, and with experienced eyes, and she brings all that. So I think that's why her channel has really gotten more and more popular. And so, but again, it's always good to spread the word because not everyone knows that. So after my session with her, I think I do recommend people check out her Tekken content as well. It's actually very fun. If you're coming from BF, it's also really fun because there's a lot of things that she relates between the two. Of course, especially when we're talking about the hot topics on Tekken lately, at least as far as the gameplay goes, right? But even there's stuff to be said on all of it. So, yeah. So I definitely encourage people to check out her content both for Virtua Fighter and Tekken as well. Let's see here. Yeah, feel free to lurk all you want, Tech Bonus. I'm just happy you're here. Currently working doing deliveries for it. Yeah. Awesome. Excellent. And then, well, I really appreciate you. And I appreciate the company, even when it's lurking. And let's see. Scared to schedule a session with Tricky? It could be tough. I do think there's some aspects to harness before taking that next step for a Tricky session. But I think but I do encourage you to watch her content. But you can also just ask her for advice. She's very nice. So it might not be scheduling a session, or it could be, but I would at least recommend, you send a nice message. If you haven't already chatted on her stream, start with that, just so that she builds that relationship. And then from then on, ask her advice. Let her know what you're struggling with, if you want a reference that I can give feedback to her, that's fine. But if you want me to stay out of that, that's fine too. But I can let her know what the experience is, what I've observed from the challenges you're going through. If you want that, if you don't want that, not a problem. But one of those things where, yeah. I think it's always good to ask her for advice too. She's happy to give it. That said, her advice, she does make it clear. Her advice tends to go towards people that are more on the competitive side of the spectrum. I give advice to everyone, right? I give advice to people that are bare bones learning the game. I give advice to people that are trying to get used to components of the game, and she does too. She does, but she is also the type who's going to try to give you like this full detailed answer. And I do intend to give the full detailed answer, but I also, from my work experience, I'm like, it's a series of projects, and I'm like, let's focus on the task at hand, and let's do some preview of those next tasks. But I basically, I have a process, and I look at where the player's at. And so my advice is geared towards where they're at, what they're working on, where they should be, where they're coming from. I take all that into account, and then that shapes how I give the advice. Tricky will probably give you the straight up, this is how a high level player thinks of it, and that's great. But sometimes there's going to be this discrepancy, and there's a lot of caveats. There's a lot of, if you're not there yet, it gets really, that advice becomes very weird. So, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it is a straight up honest advice about where the game eventually goes. It's just that sometimes it goes really far off forward, more than people realize. And sometimes I've watched people try to learn and try to start from way later in the phase and get frustrated with that, and then there's stuff where there's it is a game of all fighting games, like martial arts, are games or activities and disciplines of accumulated skill. And so when I fight a person, I assess a lot of things. So yeah. But definitely ask her for advice, though. I do recommend it. I'm just explaining why the advice might be just the differences in our way of explaining things, She might just start talking about ECD, cancels, doing an advanced option, why 2G is good, but I think she's gotten better at looking at also where's the player and can they do this, right? The 2G thing, that requires a lot of knowledge. Like, that requires a lot of knowing the options before you even do that, because it's like a losing strategy. It's a losing way to play if you don't clear a lot of these skill barriers first, So yeah. But if she offered, take the offer. Yeah, that means she's willing. And I think, things that I've really stressed, Silverbolt, is you're diligent, and you're honest, and those are always a plus. And it's always appreciated, and it really does. Those elements help a lot. So, let's see. But I may disagree with your assessment sometimes, but again, I'm not trying to judge your assessment. I'm trying to be like, well, let's see how we overcome the barriers together. How do we overcome the challenges? So that's my perspective on it at times. But I also, everybody experiences things the way they do, and so we work with it. So yeah. Tricky will join soon. We're at the 2:30 mark. She does run on her schedule. fashionably her schedule. And usually it's around the 2:30s when she's ready, but she might be taking care of quite a few things, you know. It's like right after work, there's always some kind of stuff to take care of. And then also, I think on her streams front, there's also, you want to queue up. Like, a lot of times when you're building up your stream presence, there's a lot to queuing it up, to getting the audience ready, and then having the audience there, and then putting on the show. You know, that's not how she's explained to me. That's just my interpretation. You know, so right now our chat here is kind of building up the show. Awesome. So here we've got Mike and DK Jackie, and so DK Jackie is a very, very strong player, also from St. Louis. St. Louis is one of our most interesting scenes. They would be one of our most competitive and one of our most diverse scenes of VF players, but they all have such a big mix of personalities, like incredibly diverse in personality, and that causes things to be where some of them are online, some of them are offline. It's tricky to get them all into the same room. It's tricky to get them all to go to an offline session, but they have quite the skills. And you know, Paul 68 KDMD is a member of the St. Louis crew. We almost never talk about it in that sense, but he is a St. Louis player as well. DK Jackie's very, very strong. He is a player who came in, I think, later in Final Showdown. So he was, just a few years before Ultimate Showdown came out. And his skill is very strong. He clearly he plays in a studied manner. The way he plays is a lot like, again, how a lot of Asians play. It's his knowledge is strong, and he plays with applying that knowledge. Sometimes I watch him adjust that on online, but generally he plays with a lot of that. Shun can be really, really hard to deal with, but let's see how DK does, because DK is a very skilled player, a really, really high skilled player. Like a lot of Virtua Fighter players, though, a lot of the strongest Virtua Fighter players are super strong long set players, because it's a game where you accumulate reads, and because it's a game with a lot of options, then a lot of people's favorite way to play, for very good reason, is playing long set, because that's how because as you go deeper into the matchup, it gets much like more and more interesting, but it can also snowball as well. And DK is very powerful in that setting. The playing one-off modes is really fun for me too. I do them all. But the one-off modes is really difficult in this game, because this game has explosive damage for everybody. Everybody can technically limit a round to about 3 decisions, and so you can tactically win very quickly on a very you can gamble quite a bit more and get a payoff in this game. In some of the other VF games, like in the VF4 series and Virtua Fighter V Vanilla, it's, unless you're like Jeffrey or Wolf, it's hard to do that. But like those games kind of have a more strategic flow. By like the middle of the second round, you've accumulated a lot of reads in those games. In this game, you might barely have a good reads by the 4th round, and so the game might have been over and you're on to the next game already. But there are very powerful ways to play. And for Silver Bowl, I would say you are improving on some of the things that I do think are important to do, and could do more. So ways to impose. It's hard with Vanessa, though. It's tricky. It's not hard. It's just that Vanessa has a lot of tools. It's like just that the knowledge is a little more. The knowledge requirement to do it with Vanessa is a little more. But basically, wherever you can use your frame advantage, if you can squeeze generally a mid in there, that's a really good starting point. You're like, okay, I'm +2, I can do an elbow. I'm +4, I can also do an elbow. With Vanessa, it's slightly different, right? It's like uppercuts, but that's really super close range. right? Uppercuts are super close range, and then kicks are a little more further out, and you're applying that already. So you're doing some uppercuts, but you're doing more kicks when to fill that gap, to be like, I'm putting this attack out there. If they hit a button, I'm gonna hit them, you know. And I'm not doing it I'm not trying to do it egregiously, but I'm trying to use the frame advantage I have to stick this wall of attack in their face. And if they hit a button, they will probably lose. The challenge, the highs are usually the vulnerable points, and the low attacks can be the vulnerable points because people can hop over low attacks and people can crouch under high attacks. That's why those are the... If you can do a mid there, it's usually better. If you can use if your character has safe mid strings, those are really powerful. If there's a high there, that may take some knowledge to understand how do I punish the person that's going to try to punish this high. That goes a little further, right? But the starting point is, how do I stick like a mid attack with this frame advantage I have? Which mid attack do I put in there and they can't do anything about it, right? But the defensive Vanessa has a cool tool. In the defensive stance, has cool tools that I have these attacks that are faster. Just a couple that are faster than normal. So I just know that like when the frame is really tight, when I'm at a small disadvantage and I do this, like I do this short uppercut, and if they do a standing attack, I'm gonna hit them, right? That's the cool thing that she has, right? Because she can do that at small disadvantage. At big disadvantage, she's got Sabaki attacks. So she's got like 1P, right? She's got 4-6K, right? It's like, oh, they're gonna do this kick attack, I'll do 4-6K. My kick overrides them and I punch them and now I can combo them, right? And that's where defense stance makes you feel secure, because you've got attacking options that are really good when you're minus. And most characters have a very narrow things that they can do there. They don't have that many options that are decently robust that will like beat both throw and attack. Vanessa does on defense stance. That's why when you attack like a lot with defensive stance, you might feel very secure because you're like, hey, this works, right? But then she's got really good throws. Her throw game is actually really good. She's got really amazing tools, and so that's what you're getting used to the flow with the more normal-ish moves and the attacks using advantage to differentiating between when you're using advantage to do your attack versus when you're using disadvantage to use your attack that might happen to be good there. Because most characters don't have many good like most characters, the attacks are like, it's good when I'm beating a throw, and so that's why I'll do it when I'm minus. But if they were to just do like an uppercut, I would lose. Yeah, so the speeding thing is also, so yes, when I speed on you, that is challenging you. It is attacking your mental stack. It's like, that is when you're gonna feel slower. That is normal, offline or online, doesn't matter. That's gonna kind of happen because your opponent, and VF tests this a lot, right? VF is going to be throwing flashcards at you. Do you know what to do here? Do you know what to do here? Do you know what to do here? Okay, we got here. Now do you know what to do in this situation? Do you know what to do in this situation? And that's kind of why when I fight, you'll hear me mutter about the opponent, like, oh, okay, this is what they're going to do, or I see how they're playing this, you know? And because there's a lot of that going on in VF, because there's so many options that sometimes I might have like a general idea, but I might not have a specific idea of what it is they're going for. And then when I figure it out, that's when I'm like, okay. So for example, I did talk about applying frames and sticking like a mid attack where the frames allow it, and that becomes like this wall, right? That would be what we call playing moral, using your frame advantage to put good attacks in place. Now there's a limit to that. So on Sunday, I fought with Giga Phoenix, and Giga Phoenix like beat me up in the first game we played by just simply applying applying that, but applying it in a way like at range, applying it in various situations. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. This is what Giga Phoenix is good at. Giga Phoenix studies frame data. Giga Phoenix is like, okay, when I'm like this situation, I'm -2. This is what I do. This situation, I'm +4. This is what I do. And I started seeing this is how Giga Phoenix plays. So how I countered it, especially because with Vanessa, I might not know the frame data that detailed that well. And so I was like, okay, I am going to use backdash. I'm not going to play that game, but I'm going to whiff punish. Because if a person is using frame data that tightly, and even at this mid-range, backdash becomes a really good option. So I started using backdash to punish them. You know, backdash... Now, backdash is risky, right? If the risk is that if they get the read on the backdash, they can sidekick you. And if you don't evade cancel that backdash... you're gonna lose like 45% of your life. Some Taka, you're gonna lose 55% of your life if they call out the backdash. So that's a very high risk thing. But when the range is already pushed to about mid, and they're playing like frame data, really moral play at this, that my backdash become a lot better because we're already spaced out. So now the backdash is like the range of like 1.5 backdashes. And so I'm like, okay, I can backdash pretty safely here and just watch and counterattack. If I was up close, I'd have to think about doing a backdash evade, which is sacrificing options. And so it is true that against you, sometimes I do use backdash. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're very good at mixing the delays, and sometimes when you buffer a lot, it's too. I tend to feel that sometimes you're playing slightly delayed, and I don't think it's intentional, but I think is that you do it and it works. But sometimes I think it is intentional, and I think there are times when I'm like, okay, we are getting into a buffered flow. When we're in a buffered flow, you are more vulnerable to evades, but you're making the best use of your frames. So that's that VF is always doing this trade-off on everything. If somebody is using max damage, they might be using like a knee attack, right? And so they might be mixing up knee and throw, and that sounds so great until Leon does like Sabaki. That is an attack that will beat the knee and will beat the throw. And now if you don't change your option, you're just losing. If you just keep mid throw there, the knee Sabaki will just win, right? It's like you got to use a different mix-up. But you can change to uppercut. Now uppercut's doing huge damage for you because my Sabaki is, well, one, I'm doing it when I'm minus, so almost any other attack that's not getting Sabaki is going to beat that attack, you know. So we get into that kind of flow. But yeah, for me, that's the fun part about VF is that is getting into understanding how to do a mix-up, because once you do, but then learning, at some point you learn you have to change the mix-up like a lot. But elbows generally only deal with paris and maybe backdash. And that's why I talk about them. With Vanessa, you can, when I say elbow, you can also think of uppercuts a little, even though that's not the same. But we're talking about fast mids. Vanessa can like plug fast mids at certain spots, but understand it's very close range and it loses to backdash. But at least if your opponent is just constantly defend and attack back, then like applying the frames allows that uppercut to have a higher chance at winning, with a lower chance of you getting punished until they start doing stuff like backdash. Do I think the next VF is being revealed at EVO Japan? I personally am skeptical of that. You know, but I mean, Rufomonger's really pushing that hard, so maybe they know something that I don't. But they've been pushing it hard all the time. They've made it a shtick, a good shtick, to push VF whenever there's an opportunity and kind of saying, hey, it would be good if they announce something, and keeping VF on everyone's radar. And so they're really pushing hard that VF might get an announcement. I think at best maybe there's a vague teaser, but I I don't know, but this year's Evo Japan does feel different. It feels like there is more commercial focus on this year's Evo Japan. I think there's a strong push to make this more of an event, like a general gaming event for announcements and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't think Evo Japan draws as big numbers, but maybe that doesn't matter anymore. I think maybe nowadays you can announce at big or small or medium plus or super large events and get more or less a similar effect if people are talking about it, right? And teasers are good with the hardcore audience. Teasers are good. So I'm skeptical. Like maybe I'm too traditional when I think that it's more likely that we would get something substantial at more like a Tokyo Game Show or Video Game Awards or something in between. And I also think that, we're also, for 20 years, 15 years, we've been in an era of teasers. So I feel like, but then again, VF has been weird because Sega the way they've promoted it has completely surprised and confused everybody, right? Virtua Fighter Esports was announced at Tokyo Game Show in a super vague way. And so we had no idea what it would be until literally a week before it came out. So anything is possible when that's the recent history. So it's very possible that they announced the Evo Japan. To me, it's the thing about it is if you announce at Evo Japan, I don't know what mentions you get. I don't know how much the role of traditional gaming press has anymore. But I do believe that you don't get that as much of it if you announce at Evo Japan versus when you announce elsewhere. But you do get teasing to fighting game audience. So that would be the hook that would make sense, is that, well, we let the fighting game community bubble about it. And that's kind of true that they kind of do, if you tease to them. So, but it would probably also get lost in a lot of other things. I think, a lot of people have interest in Goro or in, City of the Wolves. And so that thing's getting something. 2XKO is being promoted at Evo Japan. So there is new stuff being promoted there. It is being treated, at the very least, kind of like PAX in a way. I'm just really skeptical that we're going to get something, but I do think it is possible that we'll get a teaser. I'm not raising my hopes though. It's not just to protect myself. It's because I'm enjoying this game, and I'm gonna enjoy whenever they do announce it. So I'm gonna be enjoying the VF party. It would be good if I make time to watch the Virtua Fighter 3 team battle tournament. That would be great. I should do that because that's a side tournament at Evo Japan. VF2 was there too, and actually I watched that and that was pretty fun, except VF2 is a very weird spastic game. I definitely understand why Tricky is just does not care at all for VF2, and I do think VF2 lives better both in my memory but also in I think it's a gorgeous game. I think it's for me, it's like, as I said on Twitter once, VF2 belongs in a museum, but Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown belongs in arcades. And it doesn't mean only in arcades. I'm just saying I want people to play Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown and enjoy the aura of VF2. But playing VF2 is a very interesting experience nowadays. It's still good in its own way, but it is going to be if you try to play it at a high level, it's more 2P fest, because low punch is with less maneuverability. VF3 has maneuverability, has a lot of movement that allows the low punch to not be so it permeates the game heavily still, but because it's a true low in Virtua Fighter 1, 2, and 3. But in VF2, it really permeates. If you watch VF2 matches, whenever they're close range, you're just like watching 2P mashing, because you just can't, because it's a way to force them to not do other options until they're out of the 2P range. So it's like,
Knockout.
yeah, so there is, yeah, I think it's like there is more of a NA influence and exposure this year for sure. Yeah, you know, there is something to be said that right now this year's Evo Japan, because of the high tourism of both 2023 and 2024, you got interesting content creators having a presence over at Evo Japan already, and some of them really trying to get like getting equipment while they're there so that they can do more like there's been a push saying, hey, in Japan at the event, you can, you know, you can do a stream from there, and we're seeing that. We're seeing players trying to get used to the idea of even traditional fighting game player content creators trying to do self streams, or selfie streams. And so this is going to be a very interesting weekend. And, I was super skeptical in the past about doing any kind of a big announcement at EVO Japan. I'm still skeptical, but my mind's a little more open about it right now. Because I'm kind of like, well, nowadays the way that the marketing works is pretty different. And again, they don't need, like, the first time will probably always just be a teaser, just an acknowledgement, just an image. It could even be a blank screen and just hearing Akira's voice, that alone does a lot. So, and we did see that with the vague Virtua Fighter X Esports announcement, there were people from other fighting games, like pro players, that were looking at Virtua Fighter after that. Sephi Black, for example, took the time to try to learn Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown on emulator, and that was cool. I watched a few of their streams and chatted with them, and so it was, there's other players that were like that too, quite a bit. So, that it does mean that there's people prepare. There are people that prepare to go, like, I think I want to try learning VF because they hear about how great the game is. I do think VF has been traditionally been a hard game to integrate into that flow where you just dominate fighting games. Like, I think in Japan, not as big of an issue. There's a lot of players that can play VF as like a non-main game and be very good at it in Japan. But in the US, it's hard. Because they were trying, but I think now it's a little different. Why is it different? Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 has forced people to get into more of a guessing type of game and seeing fundamentals as how you construct offense when you're forced to guess, right? VF is not exactly the same as that, but that's kind of given them a better idea that they need to be prepared for a certain mindset in that. I think, but VF gives you those ways to break out of the forced two choice and make it into a slightly more complicated problem in most of those situations. All right, Tricky is here. Hey, Tricky, how are you doing today? Let me see. Oh, give me a moment while I let Discord figure out how it wants to work today. Just a moment. All right, I'm almost good. I think I can hear you now. Yes.
I'm so late.
Okay.
It's like 30 minutes.
It's okay. I can do about an hour, so it's not a problem. It's no, it's okay. It's fashionably on the Tricky schedule, and it's not about late. I think this is your flow. I know that you have a lot of things you gotta take care of before starting because you block a lot of time for your stream time. And so I respect that. I did also encourage the audience to check out your Tekken content if you're doing Tekken after VF today.
I
Um,
will be.
e-
Yes, that
f-
will be happening.
Let me double check. I think I'm not on speakerphone. Am I? It says I'm on speakerphone. Okay. You're coming out a bit quiet on my phone, so that's why I
Oh,
want to double check.
I can fix that actually. As part of why I was so late today, I had to. I have a new microphone set up.
Ah,
And
okay.
requires some alterations in how I do things. So I need to make sure I am sending you the right. What's it called? Output. Output's the word I'm looking for.
No problem. Th- This is the life with PC technology, you know. So it's
Yeah, I think when it's the first time you're learning how to use it, right?
Yep.
After that, it gets a lot easier.
It
The
does.
first time is the hardest time.
Well, that is a fun part about watching your streams over your career, right? It's been fun watching you add new stuff to your streams, right? Now you've got like a membership tier, and so you've been adjusting things for that, and you've got like now you've been adding to your setup, and for a long time you've had like a real Twitch setup, and then you also streamed on both Twitch and YouTube and made good adjustments there, and also always thinking about how to make best use of the use case. I think that's another fun part about watching your content is watching you adjust to all the pieces that you do add and integrate, So. So
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
yeah,
I'm back.
yep.
Okay.
That is the tricky volume. So yeah.
Okay. There we go. Am I louder now? Am I too
Yes,
loud?
you
we
are
better?
louder. You're very much louder, and it's great. It's great.
Perfect. Okay, now I have to hit the stream button because I'm not live yet. I had to get this far.
All right.
Oh, golly. But yes, I heard everything you said, though. I heard you completely. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed that part of the process because, that's just hard.
It's really hard. No, it's really hard. I know, 10 years ago when streaming was at this like insane amount of activity of like viewer adoption and everything else. So you would have like this clear gap between like the professional streamer, like the guy who was like trained in both radio and on broadcast television, and they would have these like ridiculous streams, right? They would have these amazing produced streams, and then you'd have the people that were streaming as a hobby or people that were starting out, and so there was like this big difference, but it was kind of fun watching that process. And now, as we go, the technology has gotten better. Though streaming's place has been shifted around a bit. And so, but you're also seeing that like for content creators, the age of like the independent conglomerates is kind of gone. Like the monetary stream is more for individuals than it is for like people being a community, like trying to be a channel, trying to be like this networked channel.
Right.
And so it's like, so they've kind of left the scenes on both YouTube and Twitch, right? They're like, this is hard and we can't make money doing this way,
Right.
So we're very interesting times. So now it's like the indie spot aspect is stronger, but then now we've got, we don't have Snapchat anymore, but now we've got TikTok, and that's really changed a lot of things too. So, yeah. So
yeah, it's a fascinating time to be making content, to be doing things like this. Like it's changing so rapidly, and it's just like for me, because I'm like primarily right now virtual. This all like really fits well. Like I'm virtual as a psychologist, so.
yeah.
Everyone I see virtually. So, like a business expense for me.
That's awesome. That's actually a really awesome angle about it. So now you've got both a write-off and it's helping you in your professional career.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
It's a complete win-win. Now, as long as and of course, you're making sure that you're dancing, you're going out socially, you're walking, you're taking your walks. So you're doing all the healthy things to keep yourself sane. You know.
I haven't been running lately, or dancing lately, but that's because I've been busy these past. I missed the last class cycle because it was like a short one, but I'll be back. I miss dancing. I love dancing. It's so much fun.
Yeah,
like
so
I just love it.
I know you're gonna be back on it, and I know that you know that it's like your physical and your mental health and your social health.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like all of these so important. You know, so yeah.
That's why part of why I initially started doing these was because like it's a way to stay like social, like
Yes.
real talk. Like I like playing, but I also just like enjoy the time together to just like chat and talk and just be together. Like I like that too.
Me too, 100%. That's why I totally love doing this. That's why on the Sundays I blocked the time and said, hey, told my family I really when Akai asked if I would like just kind of join them on the Sundays, and I was like I would like to do that because I like that we get to talk about it and enjoy as a community, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's like
Totally.
and so you know my family understands that and they enjoy it too, or they enjoy the fact that I'm enjoying that, I guess. You know, as long as family comes first when things are important, you know. But being able to have this, turning it into a social outlet really it helps, like having that in the mix, right? As a competitor, there's the grind factor and that's separate, but and there are streams for that, but the social aspect does a lot of good reinforcement on many fronts. So, yeah.
It really does. It really does. It's I think it's easy to forget how important it is to like be with people. Just okay. I'm finally alive. I finally did that.
hello, Tricky's audience. You know.
Yeah, I mean, fewer of them show up for the virtual fire stuff.
Yeah.
They mostly like seeing the Tekken key. Like, oh shit, I just fucked up.
No, well, I totally understand that too.
I can hear you. Okay, great. It did everything. That worked out really well. Never mind. We're good.
Oh, okay.
I just found a new way to do what I'm trying to do, which is if I turn on my second monitor, it will push all of my like Windows stuff to the other screen. So I can use that as a way to just like move all my items to the left screen because I play on the right screen. I just mistakenly found a new optimal way to do this.
Yeah. So
Very exciting.
I know your schedule's really busy, so I'm just gonna forward like a message to you, and I don't know how you two do communicate outside of Twitch though. But the player, you remember the player Silverbolt?
Yes.
Yeah, Silverbolt's just wondering if you would have availability for a session with them or consultation with them too. Either, you know.
Yeah.
But awesome.
Yeah.
So Silverbolt, the answer is yes, and I can let you two figure out how you communicate. But I do think you can also shoot a message on Tricky's stream. Her stream is starting up now, and
Yes.
And I think you know that'll set you up for DMs on the inbox,
Right.
and you can communicate from there. I know they're busy this weekend, but I think after this, like they're going to be missing League this weekend because they're busy at the comic convention in Chicago. I believe Silverbolt is either a comic writer or an artist, but I'm under the impression artist. but I do know that they do make comics, and so they're going to be at the, I think it's called E2C2 in Chicago this weekend. Yeah, doing that grind. You know, so yeah.
Can you speak for me again? I want to make sure I got your voice.
Okay.
Coming in.
Mic check 1 2 1 2.
I don't have your voice. Fuck me. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna fucking get this. You know,
Yeah.
do this part.
Nope. Like I said, life on this is like life on PCs. You know, so it's like it's a very modular technological environment, and getting everything to work together can always be a challenge.
It's a super big challenge and it's the worst sometimes.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why whenever the topic of PC versus like console comes up, I'm like, well, PC you have the greatest potential, but you also have the greatest jankiness too. For all the jank that you do have on console too, but in a PC environment, you will deal with more jank than you can imagine, and if you keep track of it, you'll realize it's a huge list. So, you know.
Oh, I have it.
But,
It was
yeah.
fine. Damn it. Okay, so I don't have your voice coming in for some reason, but I'm just gonna use you. I'm gonna get your voice in here the old-fashioned way
Okay.
because I don't want to waste time. I feel bad we're losing game time. Hey, Silverbolt, welcome.
Awesome.
Um,
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, you're doing it my way, which is using the speaker. I use the speakerphone on my iPhone, so and then just place it near the mic.
I'm not doing that. No,
Oh, okay.
I'm using I'm just using a different program in what do you call it? Windows?
Yeah,
OBS?
gotcha.
Gotta make sure I got nothing on my teeth, because that's not cute. You never want to get makeup on your teeth, ladies. Just so you know. Want to get that look. Always tell your girls when they got makeup. Am I making the room? Should I make the room?
Yeah, go ahead and make the room. I know the normal password, and I'll use that.
Yeah.
So,
Very consistent in my password usage.
Round one. Ready?
it is reference to a super popular film, right?
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
It is reference to a very popular film, right? To a very popular line in a film from a little girl.
Wait, no, I don't know that one. No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not actually.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was reference to "I Love You 9000," so you know.
No, it's not.
Oh,
But
okay.
I haven't heard of that. That sounds.
"I Love You 9000" is something that Iron Man's daughter says. So it's a cute moment. Yeah,
That's what that is.
that's why everybody responded because the timing was very, within a couple years of that film. So
Sure. Yeah, I never heard of it, so it flew right over my head.
I see.
Right over.
I guess that's my mnemonic then. But awesome.
Yes. For me, it's 9,000 as in Tricky 9,000, because I use 9K like 9,000 times. So people are afraid of my 9K because of how good I am at using it, because I've used it 9,000 times.
Gotcha.
That's the joke.
The 9K, gotcha. The 9K 9000, yes. Eileen's
Yes,
9K
9,000.
is a ridiculously good move. It is so scary. And when it's guaranteed,
If you
you're
use it
screwed.
right.
Yeah, if you use it right. You can use it to crush, but you can also whiff punish with it. You can do it like it is just, and it will lead to doing about 45% life. And getting them close to
online
arena.
it will.
Yeah.
Not on most other characters, but online it does a
Okay.
boatload of damage to him.
Yeah, it's like Beat Knuckle. Leon, well, except no, better than that because this can be off a normal hit. Jackie.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far now.
Okay.
It's kind of, I have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Beat Knuckle's a
Beat Knuckle's
16
way
frame
more
attack,
damage,
so
way
yeah,
faster.
that's like 3 frame difference, right? I think.
Yeah, it's. Well, no,
No,
Beat
it's
Knuckle's
one.
16,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Right. Yeah, Beat Knuckle's
Only
16.
1 frame difference,
Yeah.
but Beat Knuckle's not negative. Beat Knuckle has follow up. You have to
Yeah.
Beat Knuckle's better move, just objectively better move.
Yeah.
The follow up that's how is also a combo starter if you press a button.
Yeah.
It's-
No, Beat
I wish I
Knuckles.
had Beat Knuckle.
Beat Knuckles insane, and it does also have the simplest input too. So by having an input that's all buttons, no directions, might not be the biggest deal on all button controller on like a hitbox, but it's a big deal on lever. So
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand that. I can empathize.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm finally ready to hit the button. And
All right.
break. Get it.
All right, so we're on the ad break, and so we're enjoying our. Oh, I guess we're playing now. So, all right, here we go.
Access.
Well, thank you very much for making the time for me. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I know that like I understand, like, Tekken has been both insanely fun, but also very getting a lot of good experience as a streamer as well. So I appreciate this time.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't even know how I want to finish this. Man, I kept thinking it's an EX high. I fight Vanessa's too much. So,
One of these days you remember.
well, I remember in the past. It's just, nowadays it's a little, but at least I can deal with it in a very similar way still, right? The big thing is that like
really, no,
is that when you see it, it's like you kind of want to
just
just like evade it. It's just that you just cannot do the whole crouch under thing, so.
But you can't crouch under mine
Because it's a mid. That's all. Yeah.
Three.
But
it's
it is.
They're like totally different moves.
Yes.
They're not even in the same like class. That's why I was so confused. Like, why do you get these confused? They're so different.
Because you're visually you're just reacting to the image of it, right?
I guess so. It's like seeing someone jump.
Yeah. So it's one of those where it's like for me dealing with it, it's a very powerful move for Vanessa, right? And it's one of those things where now the Vanessa player should discipline themselves and understand they need to be using it as a low crush, and sometimes as a neutral, kind of as a neutral wall, like that's a very powerful way to use it. A lot of them kind of use it more than that, which is kind of where they get it themselves in trouble, especially if but part of it is just how good ECD is against it. And so when you just see this image of Superman punch, you're just like, I'll just ECD here and I'm okay. and so
what makes Superman punch so much better is it's like speed and range. Like its properties activate sooner than like blunt punch. Like it's not really a low crush. You can't really use it that way because it's too slow.
Right.
It takes you too long to get airborne.
Right. 100%.
So Vanessa's 9P is more like my 9P.
Yeah.
Like not the
like your neutral 9P. Yeah, not your cancel.
It's a 9P.
Yes.
It's my 9P. That's also plus on block.
Exactly.
And it's a special high. So it has special highs are so good.
Yeah. But again, for me, it's more like the thing is recalibrating my senses for the whole reacting to the image.
I'm just telling you all the ways in which I think of it differently. Another way that I think of it being different is that because special highs, they act like mids on recovery frames of your opponent. So that's really what makes her move so good.
Yes.
Is that she gets to use it as a whip punish tool. I don't, because my move, you'll be able to block. Because it takes too damn long to come out.
Nice. That was a step into 9K, right? Okay, what's the first direction I need to evade in 6P plus K on the first punch? Is that front?
You can't. They're linear.
Oh, they're linear. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I'm just getting hit tagged by a delay or by evading too.
I'm delaying them. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Too slow. No, I was trying to do that to you.
I know. I had a feeling, but okay. I do get to enjoy that you're getting used to VF.
I was playing yesterday.
Okay, awesome.
I play VF every day still.
Okay.
When people cancel.
Okay, just checking because I
was playing yesterday.
Because I feel like when I'm playing Tekken, like you have to keep like quote unquote your muscles tense is how I feel about it, you know? Like the intensity that you're maintaining, that tightness of your muscles, right? And I think you know what I mean when I'm saying muscles.
I don't actually.
Okay. Just sort
I
of.
play very loose.
Okay. Are you playing Tekken very loosely?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's awesome.
Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to play the game. I would get tendonitis again. I'd flare up.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
can't play tense. I'll physically hurt myself. Be unable to play. Everything I've like done training wise, like the reason why I'm like so awful at timing, training wise, is because I can't play for long periods of time because I'll hurt my body.
I
But
see.
I still like
Yeah.
getting good. So I was like, all right, well, what can I do to still practice without having to touch the controller?
Right.
And there lies the entire approach that I have in fighting games.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that. I think so. That's speaking more towards where I am as somebody learning Tekken. Then that it's like maintaining that tightness is because it's trying to discipline my options, right? But then it's like once you've learned it, just like in VF, you kind of learn to play more relaxed, and you just like okay,
Yes.
you know, like because
It's actually
now
a lot more relaxed than like VF is tighter in like a lot of ways.
nice delay kick.
I haven't played since
Totally caught my timing though
the
here.
past 2 weeks, haven't we? It's been a while, hasn't it?
No, it's been 1 week. We played last week very quickly, but we did. Like today will be quick as well. But nice
There was something
90.
I figured out the other week. It was like about a month ago now.
I'm a little slow on that.
I wasn't able to like do it against you because your options tend to be different than other people.
Yeah.
But I've gotten a little bit more fluid with it, so we'll see if I can do it this time. I think
Awesome.
if I get it out, it'll be very powerful. Like a build up on it's a extension, not a fuzzy 2.0 this time. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that off of a byproduct of how do you beat fuzzy 2.0, which is doing moves and things outside the frames. Oh,
Yeah, that was punishing. I went for the low, too
Thank
predictable low. Ah,
yes.
my weakness there is that that's like an impulse thing there. It's because it works so often, right? It's like, ah, damn it.
That's a great move. Such a good move.
Hey
Oh,
Jimmy,
Eileen.
so good to see you. I am doing very good. I'm having a really good time chatting and playing VF. Like this is another type of training. Like the chatting while the playing, it is another kind of training. And it's
Yes, it is.
and it's I love that it's like managing these gears, these gears that are less conscious heavy, but like being able to manage them in a strategic manner while also making these adjustments. And I think it's really important
And,
to
like,
do this.
When you're playing the game, you're still having conversation, even if you don't talk. So, and like you're often having like multiple conversations while you're fighting each other. You're not just having one. And so it helps, I think, in being able to be more flexible in holding multiple conversations at once while you're fighting each other, more metaphorically. I should probably talk about that.
I agree 100%. Yes, I got
You
it.
motherfucker. I should have pre-taped.
I was like, I got it.
I knew you were gonna come back in, and I'm like,
You had the right idea. Like I knew that
did the
Dash in
wrong thing
9K
to
would
beat
kill
it.
me. Dash in 9K would have destroyed me there, right? So it's like
I wanted to do a mid attack. So like, I did my forward kick, which works, but because of the animation, the hitbox was too late in the animation. It was like the hitbox didn't touch you early enough, so yours beat mine. Huh?
Round 3. Ready?
Like true ducking there. Nice.
I found one place to do a backdash.
Not frame trap that often. You frame trap fairly often. But you also don't do things. Sometimes you just do nothing.
Yeah.
Often enough, it's difficult to read what you're going to do. And I decided to do nothing as well. Your options after that scene, to me, at the moment, feel very random. They're not, but they feel that way, so it's hard for me to make a read. I'm not confident on it. I should just keep putting myself in the situation and see what happens.
I think that's what's awesome about both the toolkits for both of our characters, right? Like, Eileen's cancel game and interrupt game scares me because of the fact that she can mess with the timing so much, right? It's like strings plus, you know? But then also...
Yes. Oh, no. Every string is plus for her, effectively. Because... I thought you were going to do the low earlier. It would have hit me.
I thought about it.
I didn't get up. Almost. A circular. Like those are the reasons why it's hard to do that against you.
Yeah.
Things you like to choose to do are very damaging. So I lose a lot of health when I try to challenge you.
Hard part when I choose the low that's standing. That was bad.
I'm just not gonna do it. I'll do it later. Fuck it. Lala do this all Sir games a lot. And for following Sir games a lot. On have Tekken player, you've seen my vids when you were playing Ling and your thought process and scientific approach help you see things clearer. I'm so happy to hear that. So I still play Tekken? Yeah, I do. It's the wildest thing to me when cats see you play anything other than, like... It's like when I played Eileen, and I don't play Eileen for, like, one game. I was like, are you dropping Eileen? Like, no, I'm allowed to play other things. I can do more than one thing.
Gotta punish this one. Yeah.
Alright, chat. I have to focus for a bit here. I gotta log in.
I didn't believe. I infinite late.
That instead.
Yeah.
It's a different new
I
thing.
had the right
It's still
idea.
one of the newer things. I still want to work on a new thing. I don't want to just do what I always do. I won't get better if I do.
Almost.
Like, I have to play on the edge. I have to do the thing on the edge. I don't want to just win. I want to get better.
Yes.
Easy choice. I see. I'm going too big. Almost. Oh, Jimmy Claymore? It's Dr. Tricky to you. It's negative 13? With PK or throw? Okay. Hi, Octoplasm.
Which one was minus 13?
I don't know, some low. I know what he meant.
Is he talking about like the long, slow, low?
I have no idea, but I think I know what he means.
Okay.
Can't describe it. I know what he's talking about. Just not having it, huh? You're challenging in weird spots. I'm like, what?
Oh, I'm testing stuff. I'm trying stuff out too, so.
So I'm trying to like punish it without. Doing the exact thing, which is trying to just block it. Hard to block it. Good half circular. I have to track your half circular side, but like so many of your moves change your side. Damn.
Yes.
That's the one?
You do remember my tip for that, right? Do you remember my tip for keeping track? Like specifically for Leon, even if you don't do it for other characters, it's what I recommend doing when you fight against Leon. It's just stare at his front foot.
Woke up, what?
Stare at his front foot.
I still couldn't hear it.
Staring at his front foot.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I do that. But
Okay.
Like, you do an attack and then you evade.
Right.
The attack changes your foot stance, and like, I can't always
That's why I'm saying.
because I'm busy noticing what attack he just did, not...
Okay, but I'm saying if you stare at his front foot, even when he does that, you'll see the stance. A little more.
Okay, I'll try.
You'll see the
I'll try,
stance
I'll
a
try.
little more. If you're looking at his torso, you're gonna really struggle. But when he's
Yeah, I look at the back, normally. I don't look at the feet. I'll try the feet.
yeah, because the front foot is the back, so right, because it's the buttocks. So if you focus on staring at the feet, especially for Leon because of his stance, it will help.
So wide, yeah.
Like it changes.
I see you. I see what you mean. Yeah, because his torso moves in a weird angle, but
Yes.
his feet don't.
Right. So these feet will always, like, the feet, you just see it a lot better. There's some situations where it's harder. It's harder
Like,
on...
his torso is all
Yeah.
contorted and shit.
Yeah.
So you can't see what position he's in based on his back.
Yeah.
You have to look at his feet.
And then also, you
Or
know,
his
like...
stance.
Right. And so the only time that I found that it's hard to do staring at the feet is whenever one of the bodies is spinning circular. That's it. Like when there's like a spin kick that launches them, right? That's the only time where it's hard for me. But outside of that situation, I found that at least when you're fighting Leon, staring at his feet will do like a million things for you. Like it just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I see it. I see it already now. What are you talking about? Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Like because
I'm like, where is his mother's back?
yeah, because like the feet can't hide now, except for very few situations. It's really But because I had trouble, I was just like, man, because I spent like an hour just practicing against another like Leon on CPU, and I was just like, this is hard because like 1 in 3 moves are gonna switch stance. You know, I was like,
yeah, how many moves switch stances exactly? So it's hard to know.
I like that 9P. I like what that is. Alright, there we go.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you. Good old option select. Gotta love them. That's why knowing where your back is so important.
Yeah.
Because I can't option select if I don't know where your back is. Because I need that information against Lion, or I'm gonna die.
Paul, it's really awesome to see
I want to be
you.
able to target them. I don't know where your back is. I can't move.
Yeah.
But I need to move to make your circulars, make your non-circulars like worth. I have to make you want to not do your circulars, basically.
Yep. Not feeling it. Just block and punish those. Good.
You've been doing something there a lot. All right, let's just finish it then. Yep, that's right.
Connection is pretty good. I mean, like, you know, I don't always have the best connection with New York, but I'm not gonna say it's the best connection, but I'm really happy with it because it's not changing our decision. It's more like, okay, I see the frame difference, but the animation difference, but it doesn't change any of our decisions as far as I know. Gotta believe.
I was late.
It's like my radar went off on going like, I'm gonna get outpoked here if I'm not being a little careful. I love her. I do like Eileen's circulars. Like, I think a long time ago I didn't respect them enough, and now I like them more. It's kind of like John. John doesn't have many circulars, but then you must respect those.
I knew that. Really? Oh, come on, man.
I got a break.
Right there.
I got a break. I got a break. Yeah. It is true that, like, you know, a lot of times us VF players like to say there's not much BS in VF, but not much still means there's some. we never say there's no BS. We never say there's no BS. They just haven't played enough. Yeah.
There is a ton of it. There's so much.
But this game makes you push hard for it.
Stuff is the bullshit. So like it becomes who can run the bullshit better. But like it's a core feature of the game. There's a lot of it. Like that's where a lot of the skill is in like how well can you apply that and make it happen on purpose. Not just get it because you weren't ready, you know?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that compliment. I didn't believe.
A couple other things too.
I shouldn't try to evade that so much.
I love your patience there.
Thanks. Well, the patience came from me not punishing your your uppercut
Oh,
rushes. Yeah, the last uppercut. It was just like,
So that wasn't a conscious choice you made there. It was just a.
well, it was more of like it was just like using it as a lesson. Like, be more patient. Like, that happened because you were not patient, right? Kind of thing. I mean, not you, but like that I was lecturing myself.
Yeah, you
So
got
I was
yourself.
trying. I was trying to learn my lesson. But something that I do that I have to. It's probably not an issue on the hitbox, maybe, but sometimes backdash evade, I'm not doing it as cleanly. I need to just spend time making sure I cleanly always do it every time I intend to. Because I anytime I do backdash evade and I see my character just backdash, that is not a happy feeling. Because we know what that risk is. You know? I mean, there's definitely times when I'm not doing it because my intent, because I'm so confident in the read, but in general, like, there's a lot of times in neutral.
Show them black stun. Thank you. I'm glad you found me from the YouTubes. My YouTube journey is working.
That 9K is so good. Okay.
Playing really solid.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How much advantage does which one give, Paul? Sorry, I missed the question when you asked it.
Art of Aries is like, I love watching this while shopping for perfume and eating lasagna. Good vibes. I love the specificity of what you like to do while you watch me play. I love it. I had this image of this person now, like, eating lasagna and, like, buying perfume and shit. What way does your 2K go?
It's also evade to back. You can evade to back. You evade to back. To beat it, evade to back.
So it attacks your front. It hits people. I'm wondering
Yes.
where it hits people. That's how I think of it.
Okay. To the front.
It hits people in the front.
That's gonna be a good mental stack attack for me.
Okay. So that's evade to the back. Okay. I'm just gonna say it means you're hitting people in the front.
Yes.
I always think of things from the attacker's framework. It's simpler for me.
Okay. Yeah.
That is reverse it for the defender.
Sounds good.
I always try to think of things from my opponent's perspective, not mine.
Gotcha.
Stop me from doing.
I am glad I did the proper ducking technique though for that. I like these delays. Oh, that's bad. Yeah, just punish. Should have gone for the punish. Go for the punish.
That's what you're doing. That's good. You're ETDing the hell out of me. That's what's up. That's correct. It's correct thing to do against this character. You do that sometimes. It's hard to know when you're going to do it. That exact thing. You don't. You see what happened there?
I don't. I know what I was trying to do, but I don't know.
Random spots. It seems very random. I can't. Is that intentional or is that you like
Um,
not attending what's happening? I'm curious.
it's hard to say because there's some things I have in mind and some things that I'm trusting my instinct on some stuff. But sometimes it's more like a pet project takes over, and so that creates like a mix up from the norm. You know, so it's like
You're getting overloaded and you don't do a thing first sometimes.
yeah, something like that. Well, sometimes it's more like I said, a pet project comes up, so it's like I want to do this other thing, and it's not what I've been doing, right? And so sometimes that's what's happening, right? It's like it's just an instinct that tells me to try this other approach, and it might be consistent in how often I do that, but it's like almost.
Yeah, because of how you do it, it's like basically if it was something you were doing on purpose, like actively, like you were like not instinctual, but like just like you were purposely making it a choice.
Yeah.
I'd respond to it one way. If you're doing it on instinct, I respond to it differently. I asked.
I see.
It changes how I'm going to handle it. I might ought to.
I see. Yep, I'm dead. Alright. Let's see, but if you don't know the frames, you can always try it through and make sure
Super. And yeah,
that's
a lot. The alpha was giving me quite a bit of love last month. Damn. Actually, it wasn't so bad. That was worse. That was better than getting side crumbled. Wow, the range you just covered in like a half a second is wild.
I know. That's why I do that technique sometime, and it's worked a lot, especially the past week.
Yeah, it covers a lot of distance. Like you're across the screen, and the next thing you know, you're in front of me hitting me with a movie.
Yeah.
Okay, you're here now. Hello.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you,
It catches people when they try to ECD at that range or something. You know, it's like when they try to evade cancel at that range. It's like okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Paul and Jimmy are having an awesome chat on my stream as well. So it's always fun listening to both chats, you know. And so
Yes, I can't see your chat right now, but I'm sure you all having just a good old time
VF.
over there.
It's a VF chat on my stream, right? But that 9K, I love it. It's just a really good wall of destruction. Yeah. Yep. I like that. Ah, that forced me into side turn. So good. There.
Looking at Vito. Oh wow, good fucking backdash. Mix-ups. I said it wrong. I was like, I don't care. I'll die on this.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thank you.
Really.
Almost again.
Oh, almost.
I guess that though. I'm okay with it. Duck, okay. That's about.
Really? That was just slow punish, right? That was just I was just being too slow, right? I was. Okay.
Right there. Wasn't trying to 3-3P. I had to let go guard, press it again, and do the P.
It was, yeah.
I buffered it while I was blocking. I was already holding guard. I had to let go guard and press it again. That's something I hope they like make a little more smooth than VF6 input wise.
Which one?
It's really funky. The way the way buffering attacks occurs after. I'll tell you after that.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, sounds really good. I'm glad that I'm making it harder for you. So. I'm glad it's making you have a hard time experimenting too. So.
Oh no, I'm still experimenting. That's not
No. I mean, what I'm saying is that during your experimentation, I know that it's like you're having trouble.
I can just keep doing what I do normally, but it's not gonna take me to where I want to go.
Right.
I have to do things that are difficult. I don't play a character that can avoid that. Basically. After that is my fate. I see what's going on there. Okay.
Round 3. Ready, go!
Almost got it. Really? No, okay.
Yep. Rhythms. It feels like you freeze.
Huh?
When you hold those guards sometimes. Because you'll do it when you're low on health. Like, I was like, okay, when is he doing this? It's when you're low on health.
I do switch between modes on that, but it is true that if I'm going to freeze, that's going to be a freeze. Like, sometimes I'll freeze, but sometimes I'll be more assertive. But yeah.
When you're low on health and have lots of health, you freeze more often than you don't.
Yeah.
And it's throwing me off. I'm like, why is he, what? Is he, what? Why are you playing so differently? What happened? And like, not in a good way. Like it's getting you, like I should be killing you for it, so I was getting a little frustrated by it.
Gotcha.
Oh, nice. First hit for me. Bummer.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Okay, got to test that use case. Yeah, just punish.
Oh. Good idea, actually. Okay, that.
So good. Too slow.
Round 4. Ready, go!
Oh, come on, man. Basic agent.
Okay, high jumps too much.
Ooh. Oh, I want to get that.
I don't think it was an option select. Or it wasn't intended to be.
Coming, but I had the timing, I had the spacing a little off. Hey, wow, that's way more than I thought it was going to go. Everyone got out.
Got it.
No touching, no throws.
Yeah.
I'd rather,
no throws.
I'd rather die from my lunch.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. It's too risky too.
I guess. Yeah.
No, it is. It's right now. It is a read. It is something that I'm doing too much of, and so I'm managing it better, but I'm still doing it too much. So that's.
What is it? What do you want me to figure it out?
No, just throwing in that situation. It's something I'm doing too much in general. I'm managing it, but yeah.
It only happened once this whole set.
Yeah. Dang it.
Not too much to me.
Is that minus 13?
I should want to like not do it ever, which you know that makes sense. I can understand that.
It's not that I want to not do it ever. It's just more just manage it. Managing it better means just manage the impulse a little better, you know.
Got it.
And make it a mix of not a. Okay, that's great. That was it.
Thank you, Secret Agent. This is my favorite outfit as well. I got this tailor, Distress. It's very well. I gotta backdash, then do that. You're not far enough away on hit. Block you are, but on hit you're not.
Nice choice. I like that. That cannonball.
Wow, that was so risky. Can't do that. I can't do that. Okay, so I wanted to win that one because I broke the stagger. Whenever I break a wall stagger, I'm like, okay, I deserve to win this.
Yeah. I know that.
It's so hard to break those.
Got it.
Oh. Odd.
Yep.
That jump just came out of my hands. I wasn't
No, it's-
actually. That was
that-
an instinctual jump. My body knew before my hand.
It was.
before my
Well,
head did.
it's also another thing I'm trying to quote unquote fix right in my brain is that the mid option is just a much better option. Period. It's you know, and it's like if I'm doing that game, I need to recalibrate like my mix, right? But it's like I'm doing the kick like way too much. So it's like
Yes.
and it's not because of a read. It's because I want to hit with a low, and it's like just
Yes.
mix it, you know.
Yeah, there are a couple of components of your game plan that are like that, which makes it hard sometimes because I have to. There are very particular spots where you're like that,
Yeah.
and it's nestled within a bunch of really solid shit. So it's like, oh shit, he's doing the thing, we're in the moment. But I have to like
Yeah.
recognize it and remember, don't mix. Don't mix here. Don't mix here. Don't mix here. Like,
Yes.
There's nothing to mix yet.
God, that was so close. Want to KK that?
Yeah.
Really got to get good at KKing that wrist throw.
Gotta duck that. It didn't win, okay.
Too risky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, PK is actually really risky because evade is so good against it. Very good.
Unfortunate.
There it is.
Thanks. my Hadouken style move. It's my spacing move.
That was an accidental input. Not accidental. That's
Oh,
mismanaging.
what?
It was mismanaging the inputs. So it's like you're doing a forward dash and then you decide you want to elbow.
I get how it happens totally.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. Let's see. See if I can weasel my way out of this. Nope. You're like, I can whiff punish those.
You gotta stop throwing.
I do.
I'm about to die.
I do. That was so much fun.
What?
Sad that I'm gonna have to go, but we can do the post set chat. But that was so much fun, and I do think I am. Of course, I'm throwing way too much in that situation with low health. So I'm working on it. I'm glad that there is progress on it, but I'm also like, I've still got a ways to go. But there is progress on it, is what I can say. But it's hard, especially when things get intense. Then it's like that's where it slips, right? That's where you start falling into those things when, it's just it's not a mental stack, but it's like
I hear that.
it's a desperation,
like,
right? It's like managed desperation, It's like, And
I hear that. I feel that. Yeah, I see it. I saw it. I was like, that's the part of what I had to adjust to. It was like, because you don't do that everywhere.
No.
You do it in very specific spots. I remember when I was like that specific. I remember specifically when Denkai told me the same thing about myself.
Yeah.
He was like, Tricky, you always do the same. Ryder said the same shit too. He was like, you always do the same thing all the time. And I was like, no, I don't. It's like, yeah, you do.
No,
I'm like,
there's a
no,
lot.
I'm doing different things. And it's like, in certain spots, you're doing the same thing too often.
Yeah.
And I got so frustrated with that tip. I'm like, dude, well, which spots are they? I'll adjust if I'm clearly not aware, and they wouldn't tell me. So that's why I looked at my videos.
Well, it's a real hard one, right? Yeah. Yes.
On side turn, oftentimes you're going for an evade back, and then you'll like wait to be -1, -2-ish, and then you'll do not too slow of moves. This isn't bad, and I wasn't punishing you hard enough for it.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to 9K you from side turn, but you were like, I'm gonna do a kind of fast-ish move that will beat a 17 frame move. Right. But you did it like constantly.
Gotcha.
Or you do from side turn, if you were side turn, 2K. Which was powerful because I had to pay attention to where your feet were, and it's kind of hard.
Okay.
Or you do 3K, which is a good option too.
Yeah, but they're both evade to the back.
You didn't throw me very much there. You should throw me more there.
Okay.
Which is why I kept 9K. And one of these motherfuckers, he's going to have to throw me eventually. You never did.
Right.
But that's why you should throw more. Take the throws that you do at the end of the round when you're low on health and put some of that there.
Yeah.
And then it'll be scary.
I severely undervalue side throw. So that's the hard part. It's like, it's one of those things where I take it as a mantra too much that I'm mixing up, mid, low, and speed when it's a side turn situation. But the throw is actually really good, and a lot of times people have trouble with if you're mixing it in. It's still very good, and a lot of times it stops them from blowing you up in that same situation. So I will work on that for sure, because that's go ahead though, because I'm loving all this advice. And I'm loving all these pointers a lot. Yeah,
it's and it's a little weird because like it was close, so it's not like I'm like clearly not leaps and bounds from each other, because I wouldn't have won with such a slow margin of error there. It would have been a little farther.
No, but at the high level, as you know, as you dealt with yourself at the high level, these things are like they're lethal, And
yes, they are.
And it's hard. It's one of those things that it's hard to pinpoint. The reason like Denkai and Rodney would have trouble explaining where and when is because a lot of time the situation is built up. There's like a construction that leads to being into this like a logical loophole, And so, right? Like we're kind of like this thing happened. Like this thing happened, so now we're like we've changed the mind game to this. Now this thing's happened, so we've changed the mix up over here. Now this thing has happened, and now I'm only looking at this problem in this very two-dimensional way, and I keep making the same error, but I had to have been walked through there, right? If I fight against a player from a different skill tier, it might not go this way, right? I might make a different decision, but if I'm walked into this, but if I walk into the labyrinth, I'm going to keep falling into the same pitfall, at a certain spot in the labyrinth, and that's kind of what happens. It requires a sufficient amount of pressure to happen, right? And so, but it is consistent with fighting a lot of high-level players. Like, now I'm getting desperate. Now, yeah, throwing worked on a lot of people because you're used to fighting people that clam up at the end, right? Or like clam up because they're afraid of losing that lead they have on you, so they won't get afraid. But now it's just like, no, just flow like normal, because that was always more optimal already. Now throwing is just dangerous, and show respect to Tricky. Tricky is gonna balance offense and defense. They're not gonna go all defense, So they're not just, and also they're not just dancing around. They are mixing in attacks, So this is just bad, Like, this situation is just bad to throw. It would be better to do an elbow and get blocked. So.
That is exactly it. Yes, that you got it. You got it.
But it's just, but it's.
What happens if an elbow gets blocked? What happens to you?
Yeah.
You fucking die.
Yeah.
You don't die.
Right. Exactly. So it's just, yeah. So I'm working on that, but like from our first session, you pointed out also, like, sometimes an elbow is just fine, like on like Ukemi-zemi, right? And it took a while for me to kind of really apply that, but it's true. That's also because, the understanding the depth of the reasons why, and that's like a big difference between our fights now and then, is like, well, how much risky stuff are you, like, where are you putting your risky stuff? Is it actually like a read, or can you confirm? Because that's where you put it, but you don't put it just because you're just trying to hope to mix up, just the pure mix up. Like, there's got to be some kind of reason to do it.
Right. Why are you mixing up this way? There are a million other mix-ups you could be doing. Why are you choosing this one of all the other ones you could have picked?
Yeah, and so it's like, so after all this training, especially with you, but also with other players as well, it comes back to this, right? And it's like, and that's why a player like you or Adam will just say out loud in the middle of the fight, like, that is so dangerous, meaning like you're gonna get blown up so bad if you don't stop doing that, and it's like,
or like you will. It's that, but it's also a really good. No, that's really good thing you've noticed there. So, like, when I say that's so dangerous, it's not just that you'll get blown up in the future for this. It's also a matter of, I don't think this person knows how risky that choice is that they're making, and they do it too often. It's like, they don't know how risky this is. Which also means that I have to. No, not I. Speaking of the earlier point of how, like, it's hard to tell someone the positions or situations where they're doing like a bad thing or they're repeating a certain option, because it's not just one option. It's a conglomerate. It's a series of options that are happening. It's a constellation of things that are happening that lead to the same outcome over and over and over again.
Yes.
So that being risky to the point where Adam and I are going to say, damn, that shit was risky. That's one of those things. Yeah. That's part of the constellation of things that changes everything else you're going to be doing, because you're playing so risky, and maybe you don't know you're playing that risky, but regardless, if that's a part of your mix-up, if like a hyper risky thing is a part of your general mix-up, that tells me a lot about other choices you're probably likely to make.
Yeah.
That's the problem with playing too risky. There's nothing wrong with being risky.
Yeah. But you have to, but you have to be right.
It tells you too much information about what you're going to do for other things.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can't all be Chibita. And even Chibita is going to get blown up. Like, the matches are going to go back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
So,
Chibita loses all the time.
Yeah, right.
It's great. like he's a human. He's
Yeah.
he's not an immortal. They all die. Everyone
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah, the house collects, you know. So,
Yeah, the house always collects.
you know. So,
Good set. I'm
Well,
gonna go do some camera stuff. I might change my lighting setup a little bit, and then I'll play some tag.
really quick
I
though.
might do a video.
Really quick though, do you
Also-
remember that point that we put a rain check on in the middle of the fight?
Which one?
There was a situation that was like you felt like it would require a little bit of a detailed explanation. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Was it one that? Well, was it for me or was it for you?
It was
was
something
it?
that you were wanting
Yeah,
to
in the
say. It was something you were wanting to say, but I have no idea what it was. But I just know that there was something you did want to say, and then you're also like when you're starting to try to explain it, but you also realize this is going to be really hard to explain this while we're fighting.
Right,
You
you're right,
know?
you're right. Well, you know what match it was?
I cannot remember. Because I wasn't able to follow what the point was going to be too. Because
I hear you.
you were trying to figure it out in your head, like how to explain it.
We have
But you can
vlogs.
message me. Yeah, you can
I'm live
message
streaming
me.
on,
And-
on YouTube as well,
Yeah,
so I can just look, see what
I-
I said.
yeah. It was probably about 20
I know.
minutes ago. So.
It was about when?
It was probably about 25 minutes ago.
Where-
So the scoring would probably be somewhere around someone having around 7 or 6 or 7 wins probably. But yeah.
Here it is.
By the way, Paul, Jimmy, I appreciate you guys so much. I love that you guys are chatting in my stream chat and talking VF details. Like, I love that so much. So I really crave it that you guys are talking about VF details in the stream chat. It's something that I go back to and read and really appreciate. And I appreciate your comments on our matches. I really had fun. Like, today I think Tricky and I both were like, we're gonna come in this a little more easygoing than normal. We're still trying to win, or we're still trying to improve. Actually, is really more what it is. But you know, I think we both came into it like let's enjoy the time we have too. And I think we enjoyed the chat. We enjoyed the VF a lot, and in that relaxed state, I usually play relaxed, but that's what's really fun. Like I thought today's matches were a lot of fun, and stuff that we're learning. I'm learning, especially, is a lot of fun for me. So. You don't remember what it is, right, Tricky? It's okay.
I can't. I had to mute.
Yeah, you
'cause
can.
I can't hear you in my at the same time. I'll watch the video back and I'll figure out what it was and let you know.
No problem.
Because
I want you to have an
I have
awesome.
no idea what it was.
I want you to have an awesome rest of your stream though, and you know the camera issue, but also again, I really encourage everybody to watch Tricky's Tekken streams as well, because those Tekken streams are really awesome. Like, and you can see the community really enjoying themselves in your chat, and you know, and you give a good, honest take, but you also round it out. You make sure that you're representing a comprehensive view. You know, you're not giving a take. You're giving like, well, let me see what this issue is, and you know, you're always being kind of cautious about, you know, looking at a bigger picture as well as a small picture. So I appreciate a lot of your commentary so far in the Tekken scene. So
Yeah, I keep getting really positive feedback from a lot of what I'm saying, and how like a lot. I mean, this is. I mean, I'm using Tekken as an example because I play 3D fighters. I'm good at them,
Yeah.
so I can kind of enter that scene and like. You know how the FGCs are. If you're weak,
Yeah.
no one gives a fuck what you're saying.
Right.
You know? So,
Yeah.
like, you could be saying the most golden, best takes in the world.
Yeah.
But if people are like, this person's trash. Why should I listen to her?
yeah, people are like that.
listen to you.
But
So, at least in Tekken, I can, like, say these things
Yeah.
and at least get to more people's ears who
Yeah.
might be like, oh, she's right. Why are we acting so ridiculous? We should maybe chill.
Well, and I really love also that you can explain the VF angle, right? Because to a lot of people, Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8 have bring like this sort of quote unquote aggressive focus, right? But you also
Yeah.
able to really detail, okay, yes, and they are and yes, these are things you deal with in VF, but in VF, this is where it's different, or where, like, when you emphasize that, no, like, but VF does have a lot of defensive options, and you're explaining it's not a straight up 50-50. Yes, you're forced to guess, but there is a lot of these factors that skew it, and as the player you manage that, and then it's not, and it's not a coin toss. It's like that you're making decisions, your opponent's making decisions, there's reasons you make the decisions you do. Sometimes you make bad reasoning, but when you assume good reasoning, there's a lot more to it, and it's but at the same time, VF has its own different aspect too, right? So and so it's great to have this conversation, because I think it makes a really big topic across all of the fighting games about where their designs are trying to carry them, what's intended, how the players are managing it, which players are likely to become really strong with it, and then also, of course, as a player, you adapted to the game that you like. Can you adapt again? So yeah. Anyways,
and, sometimes you like, we play these games because we like them, and like,
yes,
something I said in one of the other videos about like strength and like
that you fall in love with being strong.
I think the players get. It might be too strong a word, but it might not be. The strength, to being strong.
Yeah.
Because it feels so like good. It really does. Like when you're strong, it feels amazing. It's one of the best feelings.
Yeah.
But like, it's a dangerous thing to want to feel or don't say, because it's like a dirty fuel source.
Yeah. Well, I would add something to it too.
Feel good.
I will add something to it too, right? And of course, this would also add more on the fixed mindset, but it's not just fixed mindset. This happens to both types, right? Learning types as well. But sometimes it's loving being strong, but sometimes it's also feeling this obligation. I have to be strong. I have to be the strong one. I'm in this position, like you're in a big brother position, right? You're in a big sibling position, right? And sometimes they feel like unnecessarily it's like a duty and responsibility, like they're supposed to stay strong, they're supposed to stay like at the top, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's that. Now that's not for everyone. There's definitely people that just love being strong, and so there's a defensiveness that comes from that. But I do think we are misconstruing a little bit of it is social media, and Twitter does have kind of character limits unless you pay, right? And I think, like in the case of Knee, they do complain, but I don't think they're trying to complain. They're just trying to express their frustration in a way. But I think the competitor in them is there, and it's more of like, but yeah, there are days when their post really comes across as really strongly worded, and strongly, but they are also the person that did say coin toss simulator, and I'm like, it's not a coin toss until you play Pokemon, and the game literally tells you to flip a coin and resolve, so,
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like things I'll talk about, I think part of what helps me when I say come off as measured so well is that like I don't like single folks out, and I'll look for like the theme. So like, yeah, sure, Nina Arslan says some stuff, but like the topic about like strength and being like intoxicated by being strong, that was an observation I've made irrespective of them.
Yes.
It's just people are paying attention to it right now. But like, that's not a them problem, and I don't even know if it applies to them. It might not. But I know a lot of other players where it does apply to them. So
yeah,
because I've been in the scene long enough, so like I've seen things, I've seen people.
100%.
I've talked to folks. I see how people handle themselves, and like I think a lot of the new game bad, old game good stuff is just that.
I
Dude
agree.
was good at the old game, was bodying folks,
Yep.
and they're getting mad because people are beating their ass in the new game that's new, is different. And
Yes.
they're like, how dare they beat me? How
Yeah.
dare they? They didn't earn
Yeah.
it. It's like, bitch, this is a new game. Shut the fuck up, sit down, and learn the game again. It's a new game. Okay? Want to
Yeah.
beat you up in the old game? Go play the old game. This is the new one.
Yep. No,
We'll play the
100%.
same game.
Just like we had to listen to about multiple throwscapes being like the end all, so it's like, okay.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Yo, we had this shit in VF for so long.
Oh, many times.
Like a lot of them have just disappeared, but they were there. We
Yeah.
had the same problem.
Yeah, yeah. When they changed to lazy throw escape, you know, like, you know, and like, and I'm like, there's nothing really lazy about actively making decisions, but you know, it's like, you know.
Yeah, if anything, the old way was an old like because again, Eileen only had 4 throw directions.
Yeah,
So if you could do 4 throw escapes, I couldn't fucking throw you. Ever.
yeah,
I never got to throw a motherfucker. Okay.
yeah. Yes.
So like people who are saying, oh well, you know, it felt good to be able to, like, bitch, I couldn't engage with a whole ass mechanic because of this dumbass thing. It was here. It was stupid. Like I didn't like it. I could do 2 or 3 throw escapes, like I used to do those,
Yeah.
but I thought it was needlessly obtuse and it nerfed. Well, granted, Eileen was super top tier back then, so like she wasn't wanting, but I don't like being locked out of a mechanic because if my opponent is good enough, I don't get to do the things. I don't get to play a certain part of the game anymore. I hate that.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, well, we don't want to get too much into inside baseball, but yes, we had this in, you know, VF, like, especially in Final Showdown, where the streamlining process had its critics. But nowadays, the assessment is that this game really, really achieves something in its own design, in its own way, you know? And I think we have a lot of amazing VF games in the history of VF. But also, there are nostalgia lens too, so I agree with you that VF2 is a crazy game. So, you know, like, I think I keep VF2 in a museum. I keep VF2 in a museum. It's a beautiful looking game. And so,
Yeah.
you know,
I wouldn't want to play it competitively ever again.
it's like 2P fest.
Like-
You know, it's like-
I never played it competitively, but I never want to. 'Cause it's just
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
It's like certain games are fun, like Smash Brothers, for instance. Very fun game to play casually. Competitively, top level, I don't want to do any of that shit. I'm not doing that.
That's,
I'm not breaking my wrist for this game.
it's intense. But anyhow, I'll let you chat and your stream totally enjoy the amazing content that you're gonna have for the rest of tonight. But thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for today. I had a blast, and
Thank you.
I'm excited for
See you later. See you
Next
next
week.
week.
see you next week. Cheers.
We're
All right. Thank you all very much. I'm going to catch up on reading the chat, and then I got to go because I've promised to do dinner with family. But thank you so much for watching and supporting. I had so much fun. Nala Strave, you're here. So glad that you are here. Nala Strave, you have a lot of great strengths. So I can only speak to you as the gamer side of you, but I really, really enjoy fighting you. It does... The nature of your, like, the things you like to do is similar to the things I like to do when I fight, and that's why when we fight, I'm probably having fun, like, really pushing that really hard. But I really enjoy fighting your brand of Virtua Fighter so much. Silver has improved a lot. Their flow is... So Silver Bolt, your flow is improving. Your transition between defense and offense and back to defense is way better now than it was before. You know, and you are picking options. And of course, for me, you're like, I'm going to punish him when he does a low. And that's huge. That's executing a read. That's a strategy. And you're doing that. And it works because that is one of the ways you know how to do really good damage. So, you know, there's going to be lots and lots of things that we build, but you really are improving. And that flow also means that you are feeling the buffer better. And you're doing a lot of things better. So you're definitely improving. This game is kind of mean because when you improve, it's more like the way you improve in a dojo, in a martial arts studio. You know, you got your white belts, you've got your yellow, your green, your blue, your brown, your black, right? And there is like like, you know, as you're developing, it's hard to see your growth. I mean, it's easy to see your growth in the beginning, but in the middle, it's actually pretty hard without, and that's why they do the ranking tests and other things like that and work in groups. But again, but you're training and sparring with a lot of brown belts and a lot of black belts and a lot of 3-dan, you know, and a lot, and even 6-dan, and sometimes a 9-dan. So it's pretty crazy. But and so the journey is like in the learning, and learning new techniques is where I recommend. It's where I find VF to be fun. So for me, I always kept learning more stuff and adding more, and then I have to adjust. Sometimes I have to trim back. In your case, you don't have to trim. It's just kind of adding other aspects of the game. And I know everybody says it. I know it's hard to not focus on the winning and the losing, but I do recommend not focusing on those things. I love playing with you, regardless. Whether I'm winning all the time or losing, I'm enjoying it, and there is stuff that happens in the matchups that I get to work on, and there's a lot for you to be able to work on too, and you are. So, you know, I think, you know, against most people that I play, of course I win a lot, but even when I was losing quite a bit, I just enjoyed the game, and I just learn, and I try stuff a lot. So it's hard to get to mental stack playing when you feel you can execute your simple things based on situations. Yeah, well, that's why you focus, on just, you know, small situations and building on them. When I block a low punch, what do I do? When I block a low punch, can I do the other option? Okay, let's keep improving what we do when we block low punch. Side kick, have a huge advantage. What should I do when I block a side kick? But the most common things you'll block will be like high punch. So when you block a high punch, don't get hit by elbow, right? That's number one. Now, how does that happen? Can I beat the elbow? Vanessa can actually beat the elbow sometimes. No, that one's probably not. She can with the freaking uppercut. Yeah, actually her 3P in defense stance can win that. But it's hard. That one is like, you're going to frustrate yourself when you do it too late. But, yeah. You do. You got 2 third-place finishes already. It says a lot. And everybody is complimenting your game because it's worthy of being complimented. So, yeah, we're all growing. But the mental stack comes later. Mental stack does come quite a bit. It's a huge factor, but when you're learning a game, when you're developing, when you're at that beginner and intermediate level, and even at the early advanced level, you're kind of mentally stacked already. There's so much on your plate. There's so many little things you're working on that you gotta, you know, and that's why it's hard. That's why it's hard. Like, for me, it's I did it so many times, so some things just come like a reflex, right? But then now, I have to kind of make some adjustments here and there, but don't be afraid of that. Like, so here's the thing: a lot of beginners are afraid that this mistake will derail them for life, right? And so they're so afraid of making mistakes. But this game, you improve when you kind of stop caring about that. When you just keep doing, and you just keep trying. And I know that sounds really dumb. I know how dumb that does sound, but it's really true. Like, when you stop being afraid of making mistakes, and you just trust yourself to just be able to build the skill, and to eventually override and build a better skill. And just keep doing. And that's why I say your diligence means a lot. The fact that you keep coming into the dojo and training, coming into league, meaning that's the dojo in my view. You come in and you spar and you fight with us. You can trust yourself, and even when it's frustrating, and it has been, but that's why I value the way that you've been playing your VF. You're not afraid to reveal yourself. You're not afraid. Like, you come in diligently, you do the work, and you do speak honestly about the frustration, but you're still doing the work. That's the most important thing, right? Like, if you actually had just left the room every time that you complained, then I'd worry about your complaints. But the fact is, you keep coming in, and that is, like, probably the most important thing to do to get good at anything, is you put in the hours, even when they're frustrating, and you do that. And I do try to tell others, this is really probably the important thing to do when observing Silverbolt, is to understand for how vocal Silverbolt is. He puts in the time, and he comes out and fights, and he is improving. And so, like, but also, like, you do have skill. You are good. You are fighting you're fighting with a lot of people who are very skilled, who are really, really skilled. And so there's a lot to catch up on. It's going to take a long time, but we think that you're enjoying it, I believe so. And I think this game is worthy of it. And I'm glad. I'm always happy to play VF with you. But yeah, it is. This game can make it hard to see your improvements. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's easy for me to see it. It is harder for you to see it, especially because, again, our natural feedback loop is the win and losses. But it's more than that, for me. I think those do eventually come. Long time sometimes, but it's like, man, how well is he doing this situation? But that's also why, like, put it another way, when I fight you in the league battle, I am applying some stuff that's very difficult for you to deal with, and that's because I feel like you are qualified enough that if I didn't do that, I'm at the risk of losing, or suddenly my potential first place becomes second place, or my potential second place becomes third place. And so I gotta be brutal with you, but at the same time, I am trying not to engage in too much close-up fights with you, because you really are a threat. So that's why I do more of some of the more ranged play, and kind of be very patient, because I know that you've been very good at blowing me up when I like to do 2P. And I know that when we fight up close enough, there's going to be moments where I'm going to 2P. So yeah. Alright. Sounds good. Yes, Tengu Man is here. I don't know who Soul Freeze is, but this is a fun match to watch. And we'll make this the last one before I read. But yeah. "100% Nostra. As you improve, the people you often play against improve against you too. Starting the match trying to observe your opponent over taking the first round can help with mental stack." That can, yeah. Actually, yeah. Mental stack happens when you get tunnel vision. Mental stack happens when you're really focused on trying to do something, and the harder that thing is to do, the more tunnel vision you'll be. Sometimes it's okay to play in that state, but competitively it can be very hard, and it can be like, tunnel vision is where you're gonna probably lose in competitive tournaments, but in training, tunnel vision is how you push yourself to a degree, to a limit, because you're focused on a singular task, and you're like, I need to get really good at that task. And it's important, right? In the kitchen, you got to be very good at, eventually you got to get very good at cutting, right? And you may cut your fingers along the way, but you got to do it. And then when you get really good at it, you may still cut your fingers, but you got really good at cutting, and then you can do other tasks. Tengu Man back with pie. Alright, we got C Money versus Tengu Man. This is the Chicago battle. Both of these players are from Chicago. Silverbolt. These are both players from your city, so you know. And they are both very good players. So. We got the Chicago battle here.
Round 2. Ready, go!
Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. Let's see. I do gotta go to dinner with folks, so let's prepare for read. Thank you all so much. I had a wonderful time. I really did. And it was because of both, yes, the session with Tricky. Yes, because certain things were working pretty well. That there's a lot of in development, and Tricky is trying stuff out too. So it's very clear about that. But also because of your guys' company. Really, you guys will see a very different look on my face because of the company in the chat. Thank you too. Thank you so much too. Let's see. And I'm glad for every single one of you being in this community. Oh my gosh, we have got Virtua Kazama. Let's raid. I was gonna raid Tricky. I encourage you to watch Tricky, but let's raid Virtua Kazama today. You know, we love Virtua Kazama. Virtua Kazama released a really good VF video about how you can participate more in the community, and everyone should watch that. Feel free to ask them about that video and tell them that Chanchai says hi, but Chanchai had to go to dinner. But really, lots of love. Lots of hugs, lots of shout-outs to Virtua Kazama. There is league stuff tonight. Yes, please do Akai's VF. Follow Akai VF. Watch Akai tonight. Akai will be on in about an hour and a half, within 2 hours. So please do watch that. And please do participate if you qualify for today's activities. Please, 100%. It's awesome, and you're gonna play VF in a learning and competitive learning environment. It's fantastic. It's the best. No, oh no! I have to hit the raid button. But this match was played earlier. We've definitely seen this again. These two are fighting it like crazy.